News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Nathan Hager.
And I'm Karen Moskow.
We begin with a deadly shooting in the nation's capital. 2 staff members of the Israeli embassy were shot and killed last night, leaving an event at the Capitol Jewish Museum. The suspect is identified as 30-year-old Elias Rodriguez of Chicago. Police say when he was apprehended, he yelled, "Free, free Palestine." Here's D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser.
There is no active threat in our community. What I do know is that the horrific incident is going to frighten a lot of people in our city and in our country.
That was Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser. And on social media this morning, President Trump wrote, quote, "These horrible D.C. killings based obviously on anti-Semitism must end now. Hatred and radicalism have no place in the USA." An Israeli ambassador spokesperson says the victims had planned to get engaged next week in Jerusalem. At the White House, Karen, President Trump had a tense encounter with South African President Cyril Ramaphosa. The South African leader came to the Oval Office to try to reset relations after the president allowed minority white farmers from the country to claim refugee status in the U.S. Ramaphosa brought 2 white golfers and his white agriculture minister with him.
If there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these 3 gentlemen would not be here.
That comment from Cyril Ramaphosa led President Trump to call on White House staff to dim the lights and play a video of crosses that he said represented white farmer deaths.
Each one of those white things you see is a cross, and there's approximately 1,000 of them. They're all white farmers, the family of white farmers.
And President Trump's confrontation with Ramaphosa comes 3 months after a similar encounter with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. A Ramaphosa spokesman says it was definitely an ambush.
Let's turn to the markets now, Nathan. And futures are mixed following yesterday's sell-off on Wall Street. Bond investors are pushing back against President Trump's tax cut plan. And we get this story with Bloomberg's John Tucker. John, good morning.
And Karen, it's a warning from the bond market. The yield on the 30-year U.S. government bond pushed to around 5.1%, around a 2-decade high. The concern is that the tax bill is going to add trillions of dollars in coming years to already bulging budget deficits. At the same time, investor appetite for U.S. assets is drying up a bit across the world, and that's a combination that could make interest rates go higher still. A challenging environment for investors like Sandy Villery, portfolio manager for Villery & Company.
You look at what happened in 2025 so far, all about the tariffs. Now we've got the new bill that's going to certainly increase deficits a little bit. And we had auction. The 20-year auction was certainly weaker.
And this all follows the credit downgrade of the U.S. by Moody's last week. George Cantor-Bone, head of fixed income and trading at DWS Americas, says make no mistake, the bond market will have its own vote on the terms of the budget bill. In New York, I'm John Tucker, Bloomberg Radio.
Well, John, thank you. Treasury yields aren't the only thing rising this morning. So is Bitcoin. Earlier this morning, the cryptocurrency topped 111,000 for the first time. Right now, it's at 110,700. Bitcoin's latest milestone comes as President Trump prepares to meet with the biggest holders of his meme coin at a dinner at his golf club tonight just outside Washington, D.C. Bitcoin is up 17% so far in 2025.
Nathan, J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon says he cannot rule out the U.S. economy will fall into stagflation as the country faces huge risks from geopolitics, deficits, and price pressures. He spoke earlier this morning to Bloomberg at the bank's Global China Summit in Shanghai.
I just think there's a chance that you'll have stagflation. So I'm not saying it's going to happen. I don't want the reader to say he's predicting stagflation. I'm not. But we have to be prepared for something like that. I think the global fiscal deficits are inflationary. I think the remilitarization of the world is inflationary. The restructuring of trade is inflationary. And this is not all an American thing.
J.P. Morgan Chase chief Jamie Dimon speaking with Bloomberg's Haslinda Amin at the bank's Global China Summit in Shanghai. For the full conversation, head over to the Bloomberg podcast channel on YouTube. And that's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Karen Moskow.
I'm Nathan Hager, and this is Bloomberg.